Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for joining me again for another week, or if this is your first week, thank you for signing up. We're going to do another Vinyasa flow for today, this time focusing on targeting our core and our back. Finding a nice comfortable spot on our mats, picking up the toes, we'll spread them out wide, setting them back down. A single roll back and down through the shoulders. Maybe another time, back and down. We'll close the eyes, taking a few deep breaths as we press down through the toes. Getting used to the space that we're in. Getting used to taking up space. We'll step the feet a little further apart, moving into our happy elephants. Lifting the back heel as we turn, letting the arms sway side to side. This is really great in the winter. It starts moving around the lymphatic system, helping with drainage, and just helping us feel good. Waking up the shoulders, the hips, the spine. And we'll let the arms run out of momentum, coming to rest by our sides. Stepping the feet back in towards our mountain pose. With an inhale, taking the arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, hinging at the waist, forward fold. Inhale, finding our half high. So we want a nice flat back here. And to do so, we're gently engaging through the core. So knitting the rib cage and the hip bones a little closer together to help pull the body in. Taking the eyes just a little ways out in front, keeping them down. Exhale, forward fold. We'll grab for opposite elbows, finding a little sway to the body. Dropping the fingertips down towards the ground, we'll put a bend to the knees so the chest can soften towards the thighs. Moving the left hand in towards center. With our inhale, right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. And with an exhale, right hand comes back down. Replacing the left. Big inhale, left reaches up. And an exhale, coming back through center. Inhale, half high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reaching up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands, heart center. Taking the arms back up to the ceiling. We'll interlock all fingers but the pointer. So keeping the hands up, fingertips pointed to the ceiling. We're going to spin over to one side, keeping the chest open out in front, maybe taking the eyes up. Coming back through center. The other side. And back up through center. If you'd like, we can find a micro back bend here. Dropping the elbows to our cactus, taking the chest and the eyes to the ceiling. Inhale, taking the arms back up and releasing them down. We'll wiggle out through the body a little bit as we make our way up towards the top of our mat. With a nice big inhale, reaching up to the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reaching up to the ceiling. This time, we're going to find a little bit of a chair pose. So how do we comfortably get into a chair pose? We're going to start by tucking the tailbone under. This gives us a nice long spine from the top of the head all the way down through the tailbone. Taking the feet either about hips distance apart or bringing them in all the way till they touch. It's kind of a position of the hips thing, and whatever feels most comfortable to you. So tucking that tailbone under, we'll take the arms up, And gently set the hips back behind us. So pressing down through the toes to help counterbalance. We can stay here with just a micro bend, taking hands to legs or taking them up, or find a little bit lower of a chair pose, continuing to tuck that tailbone so we're not feeling strain in the low back here. With our next exhale, softening the arms, we'll take the chest and knees closer together as we sweep the arms back behind us. Inhale, lifting back to our chair. Exhale, softening chest and legs, sweeping the arms. We'll do 2 more like this. One more. Good. Taking the hands down in front, we'll step or hop the feet back to our plank. Fingertips spread out nice and wide, shifting forward slightly, elbows in, chaturanga lower. Flipping the feet, gently pressing down through the hands. We'll find a baby cobra here. Softening the shoulders down the back, away from the ears. And an exhale to soften further. We're gonna press up to our tabletop from here. So knees under hips, hands under shoulders, or gently in front of the shoulders. With our inhale, taking the eyes and the tailbone up to the ceiling, dropping the stomach. Exhale, we'll curl in towards center, arching back through the spine. Moving back and forth with a few big breaths. Coming back to our tabletop, we'll bring our left leg in a little bit so we're more of a tripod with hands and our knee to help balance. Taking the right leg back behind us. We can stay here. This is a pretty stable pose, but you are still working on your core with the balance. Or we can take the left hand out in front. Holding for a few breaths here, sussing out the balance it takes. With our exhale, we'll bring the elbow and the knee in together. Inhale, lengthening, pointing with the fingers and the toes. Exhale, curling in. Inhale to expand. A few more of these, moving back and forth with the breath. With our next inhale, reaching forward with the fingers, back with the toes. We're going to hold here for just a couple seconds. Maybe we're starting to feel a little warmth. Good. Bringing the hand and knee in. Find some figure eights here, looping up towards the hand, coming across the body. Hips go back towards the heels, circling around. And then looping around the other direction. Back to our tabletop. We'll send the left leg back behind us. And again, option to take the right arm out in front. Finding that balance again. With our exhale, curling into center. Inhale to lengthen. This can also be done on the back, taking the leg and the arm that are stabilizing us on the ground up towards the ceiling, and then pulling the arm and the other leg into center. If this is bothering your wrists or your knees, that's a very nice alternative. Good, holding here for just a couple of breaths. Bring the hand and the leg back in. We'll take the knees out to the outer edges of the mat. Big toes until they touch, dropping the hips back towards the heels and finding a wide-legged child's pose. Another nice inhale, sitting tall again. Bringing the knees back in so they're under the hips, wrists under shoulders. We're going to find some barrel rolls with the chest. Taking it out to the side, up towards the ceiling, to the other side, down towards the mat. Round in a big circle. Switching directions, looping around the other way. And back to center again. Tucking the toes under, we'll press the hips up and back behind us, finding our first down dog of class. Pedaling out the legs, wiggling out the hips. We'll take the left leg back behind us, pointing with the toes, and then circling the ankle around one way and around the other. Taking that left foot, stepping it up to the hands. Full breath in, even larger breath back out. Pressing down through both feet. Inhale, lifting tall to our warrior one. Option here to find a slight back bend if you'd like, taking the chest and eyes to the ceiling. Inhale, coming back up. We're going to drop the back heel down, extending out through the front leg, folding forward. Putting the bend back into that front leg, and then shifting even further forward, so most of our weight is in our front foot. With an inhale, pressing back up to our warrior one. Good. Rotating open to our right side, finding our warrior two. Feet are now perpendicular, front toes going straight off the top of our mat. Back toe straight out to the side, putting a bend into that front leg. Arms reach out in front and behind the body. We'll take both arms up to the ceiling. Keeping the chest open to our side. We're gently going to rotate to keep that chest nice and tall and take both arms past the ear up towards the top of the mat. If you'd like, you can drop the bottom arm to the leg here or continue to float both. With our inhale, lifting back, warrior two. Inhale, extending out through the front leg, both arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, back to our warrior two. Inhale, up to the ceiling. Exhale, warrior two. Back and forth like this a few times. Taking the arms back up to the ceiling, gently sending the hip back behind us. Reaching the front arm out the top of the mat and finding a side angle. We're focusing on stacking the shoulders in this pose. So your side angle may look like this, or it may look like this all the way on the floor, but focusing on the shoulder alignment. Inhale, floating the body back up. We'll bring hands to heart center, lifting the front toes and squatting towards the back foot. Inhale, lifting back, warrior two, bending through the front leg. Exhale, back foot shift, sending the hips down. Back to our neutral warrior two again. Maybe inching that front foot a little further out, so we're sitting a little lower here. And we'll hold for just a little bit longer. If your shoulders are starting to get tired, you could always take palms up to the ceiling or drop them down entirely. Good. Extending out through the front leg, picking up those toes. We'll pivot them to match the back. Turning toes in a little bit more, heels out to the side. We'll get an internal rotation to the legs to start with. With our exhale, hinging at the waist, folding all the way forward. Nodding the head, yes. Shaking the head no, releasing out the upper body, allowing yourself to hang here. Turning the feet so they're a little bit more parallel or a little past parallel, toes pointed a little further out than the heels. We're going to either walk the hands back and forth between the feet or float back and forth between the feet. So walking back and forth looks like this. Walking through center to the other side, or floating, grabbing for opposite elbows and swaying side to side. And dropping the hands down in front. We'll bring the feet a little bit closer together. Again, making them parallel or just past parallel, toes pointed further away. We're going to start by engaging through the core. So again, pulling the rib cage and hip bones a little bit closer together and gently pulling the belly button in. So we're really engaged and tight. With our inhale, taking the arms straight out in front, using the tailbone as a counterbalance, sending the hips back behind us. Taking a few breaths here. Good. Inhale all the way up, star pose, taking the arms wide, chest and eyes up. Wiggling out, heel toeing those feet in. We'll make our way back up to the top of the mat. With an inhale, taking the arms up to to the ceiling. Exhale, hinging at the waist, forward fold. Inhale, half high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reaching to the ceiling. Exhale, sitting back to our chair, tucking the tailbone, sending it back behind us. Exhale, dropping the arms down and out behind us, softening the chest and the thighs closer together. Moving back and forth with the breath again. Inhale, reaching the arms out. Exhale, softening towards the legs. If you would like, as we lift back to our chair, you can lift onto the tippy toes and drop the heels to sway back. And one more like this. Good. Exhale, dropping the hands down, stepping or hopping the feet back, finding our plank pose. Fingertips spread out wide, shifting forward, elbows in, chaturanga lower. Flipping the feet, inhale to a cobra. Exhale, softening. We'll take the arms a little bit wider out to the edges of our mat. Finding another baby cobra here, but putting less weight in the hands. Exhale, soften. Two more like this. Inhale. Exhale, soften. One more. Exhale, soften. Bringing the hands back under the shoulders. Tucking the toes, pressing up and back, down dog. We'll send the right leg back behind us, stepping it up towards the hands. Full breath in. Even larger breath back out, pressing down through the toes. Inhale, warrior one. Again, option to find a slight back bend if you'd like, or to stay reaching tall. Dropping the back heel, lengthening out through the front leg, will fold forward. Putting the bend back into our front leg, shifting even further so we're barely any weight in the back toe. Inhale, lifting back up to the ceiling. And we'll pivot open towards our left side, warrior two. With our inhale, taking both hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, back to our warrior two. Inhale, both hands up. Exhale, warrior two. Couple of these. Moving back and forth. Focusing either on the breath or focusing on the legs here. Nice strong base to help us move. Coming back up, sending the hips back behind us, reaching the front arm out in front, finding our side angle. Again, trying to find a stack to the shoulders, taking the eyes up to the top hand or down towards the mat. And then inhale floats us back up. Warrior two. Bringing hands to heart center, extending out through the front leg. We'll drop down towards the back foot. Inhale, back to our warrior two. Again, moving back and forth some more with the breath. Doesn't have to be a whole lot of a squat down to that back side, but shifting our weight back and forth between the feet is our main goal here. Maybe feeling some inner thigh engagement as we do a little bit of a lunge. Back to our neutral warrior 2. We're going to hold here for a little bit longer. Again, option to flip palms up to the ceiling if your shoulders are getting tired. Good. Picking up those front toes, giving them a wiggle and out, and then turning them to meet the back toes. This time we'll bring heels in towards center, toes pointed away from the body, tucking the tailbone under to begin with. So we have that nice long spine from the top of the head all the way down to the bottom of the tailbone. We're going to squat straight down like we're sitting in a chair, keeping the arms down in front. We can find peace and stillness here, focusing on pressing down through the outer edges of the feet, or we can find a little sway side to side. Coming back through center, we're going to sit a little bit lower here. So pulling the kneecaps in towards the body, tucking the tailbone under. Dropping the hands to the knees, we'll give the tailbone a wiggling out behind us. Taking the right shoulder across towards the left knee, finding a little twist. Coming back through center, left shoulder across to the right knee. Other side, towards the left knee. Through center, towards the right knee. And back to center again, opening up, finding that star pose. Bringing the arms down, heel toeing the feet in, wiggling out through the body. We'll make our way to the back of the mat. Finding that mountain pose again. Feet either touching or under the hips. Picking up the toes, we'll spread them out wide, setting them back down. A single roll back and down through the shoulders. With a big inhale, taking the arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, hinging at the waist, forward fold. Inhale, half high. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up to the ceiling. Exhale, chair pose. Another exhale softens us towards the legs, sweeping the arms. Inhale to chair. Exhale to low chair. Inhale again. Few more, back and forth, pressing down through the toes. One more. Exhale, taking the hands down in front. We'll grab for opposite elbows, dropping the chin to the chest, shaking the head out a few times, allowing the upper body to hang. We'll find a little sway side to side. Inhale, finding our half high. Exhale, forward fold. This time wrapping the arms around, giving ourselves a big hug, dropping the chin to the chest. We'll hang out here. Releasing the arms down to the mat. We'll put quite a bit of a bend in the legs. We can set the chest towards the thighs. Taking the hands one step further out in front. Sending the hips up and back behind us, pressing down through the heels. You should feel a stretch from the middle finger all the way down the back. Taking the hands another step out in front. Again, sending the hips up and back behind us, down through the heels. We can keep a bend in the legs here if that helps you to feel the stretch across the back. Continuing this, walking one step out in front, pausing, pressing up and back through the hips until we make our way to our plank pose. Shifting forward, chaturanga lower. Inhale to a baby cobra. Exhale to soften. Taking the hands out further, tented up on the fingertips. Again, finding our baby cobra. Exhale to soften. 2 more like this. Bringing the hands under the shoulder blades, we'll press up to the knees. Finding a tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Taking the left leg back behind us. We're gonna make little rainbows with this back leg here. So taking it over towards our right side, past the side of our mat, lifting up and across to the other side, left side of our mat. We'll make our way back and forth, making that nice rainbow shape. Taking that left leg straight back behind us, holding here. And then bringing it back in. Wiggling out through the hips, through the back, through the shoulders. And we'll take the right leg back behind us. Again, finding these nice big rainbows from the right side of the mat, up and across to the left side, back and forth. Taking the right leg back behind us, holding it here for a few seconds. And bringing it down. Bringing the legs together so they touch from the knees all the way back to the big toes. We'll sit back onto our heels, stretching out the front of the legs here. So if this is a little bit too much of a stretch for you, you can always tuck the toes under, or you can grab a blanket or a pillow to set behind the knees to give you a little more space across the fronts. We'll take the hips over to one side, circling the legs around. Scooting ourselves to the middle of the mat. We'll take the legs out in front, giving them a nice wiggling out here. We'll point the toes straight up to the ceiling, engaging all the way up the legs. So we should find a little bit of a pull up of the kneecaps in towards the body. Sitting up nice and tall here, we're gonna really be working from our back in this pose. So taking the hands up to the ceiling, and we'll take a few deep breaths. At the end of each exhale, readjusting that posture, sitting up a little taller, reaching up a little higher towards the ceiling. Good. Exhale, bringing the hands down beside us. We'll take them back behind us. Fingertips point away from the body. We're going to do a little bit with our hip flexors here. So there is an option to keep both legs out in front, or we'll take the left leg up or in towards the body, knee up towards the ceiling. We can stay with our weight back here, or we can sit up a little more, whatever works best for you. We are going to lift one leg up off the mat and set it back down. Lifting it up off the mat, setting it back down. Seems like it'd be really easy, but you'll start to feel it right away. Lifting it up and setting it back down. Back and forth a few times, still working on one leg. Up, setting it back down. Good. Setting it down, wiggling out through the legs. Now for the other side. Picking the foot up and setting it back down. Picking it up and setting it down. Repeating this on this side again. And setting it back down, wiggling out some more through the legs. We'll bring the feet in so knees are up towards the ceiling. Finding a nice tall stance through the spine. We'll take arms on either side of the legs, finding a boat pose. So if your boat pose looks like this with your toes down on the ground, that's awesome. Your boat pose could also look like this with your legs parallel to your mat, or like this, fully extended. Whatever you are feeling and whatever is in your practice today is great with me. We're gonna hold here for a couple of breaths. I like to wiggle my fingers and toes. Good, dropping the feet down in front, taking the knees wider, reaching out in front, chin to chest. Inhale, setting back up. We're going to do our boat pose one more time. Taking the arms out, engaging through the core, sitting back, finding a boat pose. Continuing to breathe. We're almost done with core. We're going to expand out a little bit further. And then a little bit further. Until we're fully down on the floor, finding a full body stretch. Reaching the arms up overhead, pointing and reaching with the toes. Taking a few big breaths here. Fully feeling the core, the chest rise with our in-breath. And softening with our exhale. Walk the bottoms of the feet in towards the body, picking the hips up off the mat, tucking them under and setting them back down. So we've gotten rid of the space in the low back where we sometimes hover. Taking both legs straight up to the ceiling. We'll wiggle them around. Optional core exercise here. We can take the arms up, reaching up towards the toes. Or we can stay here, just playing with the feet, enjoying the reverse process. Bending the knees in. We'll grab for the outsides of the feet, taking them past the rib cage and gently pulling down on the feet. We can sway side to side a little bit here, or we can lengthen out with the legs, wiggle them all around. We'll release the feet, hugging the left knee into the chest, letting the right leg soften all the way down to the mat. Hugging that left leg in, we'll take the left hand on top of the left kneecap and find some hip circles here. Taking it out to the side, back in, looping around. Switching directions, circling it around the other way. Bringing that left knee back in for another big hug to the chest. We're gonna find a gentle twist. Taking that left knee across the right side of the body. Left arm reaches out away from the body and the eyes might turn over towards that left hand. Trying to keep both shoulder blades down on the mat. Bringing the left knee back into the chest for another big squeeze. And then we'll switch out the legs. Left goes long, right comes in. Again, taking the right palm to the top of the right knee, finding those big looping hip circles. If we haven't yet, switching sides, looping around the other direction. And then bringing that right knee in for another big squeeze to the chest. Taking that right knee across the left side of the body, finding a twist. Trying to keep both shoulder blades down on the mat here. Eyes might turn over towards that right hand. Bringing the right leg back through center for another big hug to the chest. We'll bring the left leg back up, hugging both in, maybe finding a rocking side to side, massaging out the low back. Or laying here, hugging those knees in tight. And then, whenever you're ready, we'll drop the legs down and make our way to our Savasana, finding a comfortable spot to take a moment's rest in. That can be with the knees up or with them at a butterfly, anything that you feel comfortable. I like to put a pillow under my knees. It just gives my hips a little more space and my low back can soften a little further to the mat. When we're nice and comfortable here, we'll take a large breath in through the nose, fully releasing it out as a sigh. Closing the eyes, allowing the body to get heavier and to soften further with each exhale. We're going to focus back in on the breath. Taking large breaths in, feeling the chest and abdomen rise, filling with air. With our exhale, fully releasing the breath back out. Feeling how the body naturally softens at the end of an exhale. Continuing like this, full breaths in, even larger breaths back out. We'll take another large breath in through the nose, releasing it out as a sigh. Inviting some movement back into the body, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, starting to wiggle up a little more through the body. And then, when you're ready, we're gonna roll to one side, taking our moment of gratitude here. Being sure to thank yourself for taking this time out of your day to focus solely on your body, your breath, and the peace and stillness that you can create for yourself. Thank yourself for all of the amazing things that you have accomplished today or that you're going to accomplish today. Even if it is taking a day of rest, those are always so nice. Again, when you're ready, we'll make our way up to seated. Taking one hand down to the mat beside you, we'll take the other arm up and over the body, cartwheeling the arms, switching sides. Coming back up through center. One last time, we're going to close the eyes. Taking another large breath in through the nose and releasing it out as a sigh. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's such a joy and an honor to get to spend this time with you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Go in love and light. Namaste.